garbage. They poured almost $1 billion into this goddamn facility already. Mastermind, thank you for hanging out. Sorry we had the choppy earlier. We're back here now. We're doing our last story, and this is about Tortuguita. Today would have been his birthday, so happy birthday, Manuel. This is an awful story. Of course, we know what happened, kinda, but we're going to tell the story. Unicorn Riot, yet another Indie Media Award honoree, because they're awesome. Shout out to Unicorn Riot. They do great work in the field. And they've been on the Cop City stuff for over a year. And they have just a tremendous website and a page dedicated completely. Tremendous. It's tremendous. It's fantastic. And it's dedicated solely to the effort to stop Cop City. And they've been all over it for a long time. So what happened? Wait. Oh, right. I have to switch. Hold on. Okay, let's go back to it.
Oh, you have like a...
Yeah, no, I have the article that I actually have to run here, and we're doing it this way. Okay, and we're killing that, and I am going back here now. Hey, bada. Drag this over a little bit more. Okay. So what happened?
Great success.
Yes, great success. So what happened is that the coroner has come out with their report from DeKalb County and has identified and has come out and declared that there was no gunpowder residue found on his hand or anywhere, according to the autopsy. Now, that is, of course, aside from the 57 gunshots that were found in him.
Jesus Christ.
3 months after Georgia State Patrol officers shot Manuel Tortuguita Esteban Paez Terán, killing the 26-year-old environmental and human rights advocate, the DeKalb County medical examiner released their autopsy results. In the 34-page report, Dr. Gerald T. Gowitt, the chief medical examiner, wrote that, quote, gunpowder residue is not seen on the hands. That was one of the things that was put up there. If YepX wants to share a story, sure, send it over to me on Twitter, I guess. No, over on send it on Discord, actually, if you can DM me on Discord. A gunshot residue kit was performed, yet those findings remain undisclosed. What a surprise. The cops don't want to disclose that. Another piece of new information revealed in this autopsy was that his body had at least 57 gunshot wounds. The GBI continues to hold on to their investigation findings closely, leaving his family, Tortuguita's family's loved ones, and the greater Stop Cop City movement searching for answers on their own. So on March 13th, his family held a press conference to release an independent, full autopsy of Tortuguita and discuss the lawsuit the family filed against the City of Atlanta and under the Georgia Open Records Act. That's a 10-minute press conference. You can find that. We'll put the link in the descriptions after the show's over.
Down that doobly-doop.
After the request of their family, Dr. Chris Sperry conducted the independent autopsy on Tortuguita. Sperry found that when they were shot and killed, his hands were raised in the air. When we found that out too, yeah, we knew that he was sitting down and his hands were in the air. That might be what YepX was sending me. Okay. According to, that he was sitting probably in a seated position, cross-legged when killed. With crisscross applesauce, as we now PC say, but Native American style is what they would have said when I was a kid. According to the almost. According to the newly released autopsy report, however, Dr. Gowitt wrote that there are too many variables with respect to movement of the decedent and the shooters to draw definitive conclusions concerning his body position. So he may or may not have been sitting cross-legged with his hands up. Now, we know that he was killed on January 18th in the South River Forest. They were dedicating their time to the diverse Stop Cop City movement and working to prevent the construction of the Atlanta Police Foundation's Atlanta Public Safety Training Center. That's what they're calling Cop City. That morning, a multi-jurisdictional, heavily armed
brought to you by Home Depot.
Coca-Cola, Delta Airlines, every major corporation. Yeah, but the thing is, if you're in Atlanta and you're not supporting the cops, you're going to get shaken down by the cops. Your employees are going to get harassed. Like it's almost a threat, or almost like, the cops will come out and say, look, you don't support police. What's the matter with you? Blah, blah, blah. And yeah. So Terán was killed on January 18th in the South River Forest. Like we said, that morning, a multi-jurisdictional, heavily armed team stormed the forest in an unprecedented crackdown against protesters, according to Joe Flipovitz, which is one of the family attorneys. Right, so she says the police went to the forest that morning planning for violence. You can see it in the City of Atlanta videos. They formed firing squads, multiple officers with weapons drawn. It was a powder keg. And the moment there was a lapse in judgments on anyone's behalf, there would be death. And there was. So during the press conference on March 13th, Flipovitz called into question the GBI's declaration that there is no body cam footage on the incident, which we know that there was. They did recon on the scene. It was a planned operation, yet no one had body cam when they shot Manuel, or so we're told. Well, since the moment he was killed, law enforcement officers disseminated the story that a Georgia State Patrol officer was shot during a forest raid, after which officers returned fire, killing Terán. Many news outlets reported exactly what the GBI and other law enforcement agencies were saying about January 18th, referring to him as a suspect and as the person who shot a trooper. Also untrue, because Wingo Smith, another of the family's attorneys, pointed out at the press conference that the GBI was concerned with maintaining their narrative, because they wrote the Atlanta Police Department a letter asking it to stop releasing videos and other material related to what happened that morning. Mind you, the GBI, as we already discussed, had no problem releasing selected videos from even from the arrest last week on March 5th, within 24 hours of those arrests, and had no problem releasing other information about Manuel that they said conformed to the narrative they were putting forth. Of course. So any counter narrative and any counter evidence, right? So the findings in the medical examiner's autopsy seem to be generating more questions than answers. What a shock. So a member of the Atlanta City Council on Thursday, Liliana Bakhtiari, published a statement on Twitter in response to the autopsy results, calling upon the Department of Justice to get involved. But finally, quote, the timelines reported by law enforcement had already proven to be contradictory with this new information from DeKalb's autopsy report showing no gunshot residue on Tort's hands, but at least 57 gunshot wounds. They have proven that their word cannot be trusted. At least we've got one city council member that's paying attention and that is looking for justice.
Yep.
With public confidence compromised and having had multiple agencies involved in the incident, I am once again calling for the Department of Justice to open an investigation into what actually transpired in the South River Forest.
Yep.
So, Unicorn Riot spoke with her on March 6th after an Atlanta City Council meeting. Quote, the escalation is troubling. It scares the ever-living crap out of me because I was terrified when the first arrest happened in the forest right before Christmas. And as I said to my colleagues, if we don't come together now and get the administration up to the table, someone's going to die. And unfortunately, that is exactly what happened.
That's what happened.
And here's a 4.5-minute meeting interview with Liliana Bakhtiari. Okay, as questions persist about what happened on the morning of January 18th. Thank you, Yepex. I got it here. Google Photos. I'll have to open that in another thing. I don't know where it's going to open. 404. It's a do not found. Sorry, man. But as questions persist about what happened on the morning of January 18th, at least 6 total forest defenders and people arrested during the South River Music Festival remain in jail with state-level domestic terrorism charges. And the number of people charged with Georgia's domestic terrorism statute is at least 42. I know. People say the answer to everything is 42. But the larger context of this unprecedented crackdown is the domestic terrorism charges and the use of the state's force to quell dissent. This is an alarm. This is terrifying. Again, Unicorn Riot, extensive coverage of the Atlanta Forest Defense. They did this great documentary last year about it. But Here, Atlanta PD releases body cam footage from the 18th raid. And as it turns out, seems like cops shooting cops, especially because as it turns out, he had no gunpowder residue. He definitely did not shoot them. He didn't shoot at them. He didn't even have a weapon.
No. Which means it's going to be who?
ACAB.
Who's it going to be that shot him?
That would be cops.
Only other people there with guns were ones in blue. Well,
like
black.
a whore. Yes,
but
Sebastiano. That's he was asking for a Cenk Uygur voice, like a whore. I'm guessing that was after you heard. Of course.
I'll tell you right. I'll tell you right now. Like this story to me is somewhat personal. There's a Tallahassee kid used to work with like food, not bombs, right? Like just your standard activist, you know, like. So, to me, that's like, I mean, it's not that far from me, in all honesty. Like, it's a couple hours drive, but, like, Tallahassee's not. It's 45 minutes. Like, so, I need to reach out to Food Not Bombs people and see if they had anybody that knew them. That'd probably be a good idea.
Yeah. Bye. So, oh man, yeah. Happy birthday. Rest in power. Tortuguita.
Yeah.
ACAB. Justice for this man. It's gross. He should be here right now celebrating his birthday. Maybe even watching this show.